Okay. Hi everyone. Good morning. So can you confirm, one of you confirm my voice is clear and loud?
Yeah, clear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So about me. So I don't want to explain me about myself. So you can go to my LinkedIn profile. So you get full history about my experience, my certifications, where I have worked, what is my experience. So you get the full history about me in the LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to share this LinkedIn profile in the chart here so that everyone can access. And if you have any questions, you can reach me at LinkedIn as well via Messenger. So in terms of training, in terms of job opportunity, in terms of career, how you need to go further. So you can reach me anytime. I'm going to help you. Now, as part of the training, so first of all, I want to tell you today I'm just going to brief you what I'm going to explain, how I'm going to deliver the materials, what I'm going to teach you. So in this next 2 months journey, what you are going to learn from me, how you need to apply for the jobs, how you need to attend the interviews, how you need to explain the project, how you need to write the certifications, where you can get the materials, and I have the materials which I'll share with you so that you can go through further. So in terms of sharing the materials, so I'll prepare the drive for you and I'm going to share you on daily basis. I'm going to share you all the recordings for you in this manner. So this is the batch which has been completed yesterday for UK batch. So, and I'm providing all the project recording. So in terms of project, I'll share all the recordings and documents. And in terms of documents, so I'm going to share all the documents, whatever I'm going to teach you. And then Databricks notebooks. So we are going to learn about Databricks, Python, Spark programming, Delta. So you are going to learn all these things. All the materials will be separately handled. And I'm going to share you all the important links. So whatever the links that is required to learn and to grow further, I'll share you all the links in this manner going further. Okay. So this is in terms of sharing the materials which I'm going to share you on daily basis. So far I have trained almost 30 plus batches. So usually I train for UK, US and Europe countries. For last 2 years, 2.5 years, I am doing the same. So I'm purely technical guy with hands-on experience and I'm currently working as a solution architect come technical lead. So I handle 15 projects in terms of solutioning, in terms of delivery. So I work with Cloudera, CDP, and then Microsoft and AWS. So I work with multiple vendors, cloud vendors to deliver projects from my company as well as from previous company. So I'm partner for Databricks as well. So I get all the trainings and I'm partner to the Databricks as well. So this is myself. So as part of this training, so what you are going to learn. So if you see in cloud, we have three major clouds in the cloud, right? So we have three major cloud providers in the real time. So what are the cloud providers that we have? We have Google, Azure, and AWS. So we have these three major clouds in the real time world. We have other vendors as well. So we have other cloud providers, but these are the major competitors in the market currently. So I can say Azure and AWS are the major competitors in the market for the clouds. So which customers are using the cloud? Which customers are ready to move to the cloud? So if you see in real time, we have multiple customers, right? So if you see, these are the customers, enterprise in the industry. These are the supporting enterprises in every industry. So let's take healthcare and science. So these are the few I have listed here, like GSK, Medicines, AstraZeneca. So these are the few healthcare systems which they want to move to the cloud and they want to use artificial intelligence. They want to use blockchain. They want to use AI. So they want to use all advanced technologies and they need to run the business and they need to stay competitive in the market. And manufacturing, automotive, so these are the customers they want to move to the cloud. And if you take in terms of media, so these are the media which they want to be in cloud. If you take financial institutions like HSBC, Citibank, Standard Chartered Bank, Credit Suisse, DG, so we have n number of financial institutions which they are planning to move to the cloud. So 1 year back, no banking is ready to move to the cloud. But now each and every bank is moving to the cloud because of in terms of security. So I'll tell you what is the advantages if we move to the cloud. We'll learn. So we have almost 10 advantages if you move to the cloud. What is the benefits in terms of costing, in terms of scalability, in terms of time saving, in terms of securing the data, in terms of disaster recovery, in terms of connectivity. So these are the few benefits we have if you want to move to the cloud. So like this, here I have listed 8 sectors currently, but in real time, almost 30,000 plus million data that we are getting to the cloud with different enterprise like manufacturing, financial institutions, banking, healthcare, public sectors, retail like Unilever, all this HM and energy. These are the energy and utilizations, digital native. So apart from that, we have multiple source systems which they want to move to the cloud. So what, as a part of data engineering, so we are going to focus on data engineering. So if you see in the cloud, not only Microsoft, if you take Google, AWS, Azure, we have 3 providers in the market. So all these 3 providers, cloud providers, have the same roles: developer, data engineering, DevOps engineering, administrator, data scientist, security engineering, solution architect, AI engineering, and functional consultant. As part of my training in the market, you have huge openings for data engineering, huge marketing for data engineering. For 2+ years of experience, they are paying 15 lakhs to 20 lakhs minimum package for data engineering. Even if you come from ordinary college, or if you don't have big college like IITs, NITs, even if we have passed out in normal college, if you have 2 years of experience in data engineering, you can draw 15 to 20 lakhs package in the industry, current market. And you can schedule, so you'll get minimum 10 to 15 calls on this data engineering on daily basis. Because in market, there is very less people who know the real time, who know this data engineering, and they don't have resources for this. So what the companies are doing, they are hiring the freshers, they are providing the training for 6 months, and then finally they are utilizing them. But if you want 2 years or 3 years experienced people in the market, we are not able to get the proper people in the market. So you have huge opportunity for data engineering, because now almost every enterprise like healthcare, financial institution, every industry, they are planning to move to the cloud. Next 5 to 10 years, all the industries, they want to keep the data in the cloud. They need to run the business. So they want to move to the cloud because of huge benefits in terms of cost, in terms of security, in terms of using latest technologies like AI, machine learning, data scientist. So if they want to use all these things, the data should be in the cloud. So I'll tell you what is the cloud. Okay. So data engineering is the one who is going to work on the data, to get the data from multiple industries, and they are building the data lake. So what is the main purpose of data engineering in the sense? Data engineering will do this stuff. So data engineering is the one who is going to do ETL operation. ETL is nothing but extraction, transformation, and load. So we are going to do extraction, means I'm going to extract the data from multiple source systems. Like if you see, I'm going to extract the data from like devices, social media apps like LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, sensors, webs, and then I can get the data from relational database systems, SQL databases. So I have 90+ source systems in the world. In the real-time world, I have 90+ real-time source systems in the world. I have 90+ data source systems, which is running on legacy applications like Oracle, MySQL database, Salesforce, SAP HANA. Like this, we have data sitting in multiple data source systems. So what is the primary goal? What is your responsibility? you need to connect to the source system. You need to extract the data. You need to extract the data, and you are going to load the data into data lake. So you are going to extract and you are going to load the data into data lake. Means data lake is nothing but the cloud. So where the cloud data is sitting, so if you see data centers in Azure, not only Azure, if you take AWS, Azure, or anything, so they have data centers across the world. Across the world, they have a data centers. So this is simple image which have the data centers for Azure, which have data centers for Amazon. So like this, we have data centers for Google as well. So if you see, they have a data centers across the world. Suppose let's take simple example, State Bank of India. It's purely Indian bank. It's a government bank of India. So they want to store the data in India itself. So they will choose either of these data centers to keep the data in the cloud. So data centers resides in the Microsoft region, where you need to select the data centers and you are going to store the data in that particular region. So like this, suppose your bank is like Citibank. So Citibank is operating across the world. So what they will do, they have one data center in Europe region, one data center in US region, one data center in Asia Pacific region, so that they can maintain the data and they can keep as per GDPR complaints. So we have a complaints. Whenever you talk in terms of data, the data should be retained in the same region. I should not give to Europe region my data. So there is a complaints. So based on the complaints, you need to select your data centers and you need to store the data in the cloud. So you are going to extract the data from multiple data systems and you are going to store the data in the cloud storage. And you are going to extract and you are going to load the data. So once after the loading, you need to do transformation. So what is this transformation? Suppose I have a customer table. Suppose let me take, I have a SQL database where I have a table, customer table. So I have read the table. It has somewhere around some millions of records and it has some 10 columns. So what I will do, it has some duplicates. So I want to remove the duplicates. So transformation is nothing but you are going to remove the duplicates. You are going to apply, suppose I have 10 columns. So I want to get only 4 columns. So let me get one file for you. So I have simple file. Okay. Suppose what I'll say, I have some duplicate records. So these are the duplicate records I have. So I want to remove the duplicate records. And I want only the invoice and stock code and then quantity and invoice rate. So I want only 4 columns. So I'm going to select only the 4 columns that are required for Power BI. So what I'm going to do, transformation is nothing but you are going to clean the data. So I have a data which has huge records, million records, and it has n number of columns. But as part of transformation, I'm going to clean the data and I'm going to sort it out. I'm going to get the required, what are the columns that is required for Power BI, data lakes, or machine learning tools. I'm going to transform the data and finally I'm loading the data into data lake. This data lake has the data for all 90 plus source systems, and this data will be further used by BI tools like Tableau, Power BI, and data marts. We'll talk about what is data marts, and we need to build the data lakes further, Delta Lakes, Lakehouse platform, and we can publish this data to the dashboards. So apart from that, if you want to use for data scientists like data IQ, data robots, so we are going to use this data further for all the analytics. So the primary responsibility of data engineering. So the primary responsibility of data engineering is to extract the data from multiple source systems, and then after extraction you can transform and load, that is called ETL operation, or ELT, extract, load and transform. So I'll tell you when to use ETL, when to go for ELT. So when we go deeper and deeper, I'll explain you when we need to do ETL operation, when we need to do ELT. So both are same, but here after extraction, I'm transforming and I'm loading. Here I'll extract, load and then transform the data. So the primary responsibility of my responsibilities for Azure data engineering is I need to do ETL operation. So So the primary responsibility of data engineering is to build the ETL operations, and then he need to monitor. So you need to monitor the data. So we have tools in Azure Data Factory where you can monitor these things. In terms of security, so if we talk in terms of security, so whenever the data is storing in the cloud, whenever the data is storing in the cloud, I am storing the data in the cloud, the data should be always encrypted. Means the data should be always encrypted. If someone has been hacked your data, still the data should not misuse. So you need to encrypt your data. So in Microsoft, we have encryption at rest. Whenever the data is storing in the cloud, the data is always encrypted. Whenever the data is in motion via HTTPS mode, via REST API, or via it's passing internet, the data in transit, encryption in transit. Even the data is transferring via internet, the data is always encrypted. That is called encryption in transit. So we are using TLS 1.2 version, transport layer security, which the data is always encrypted while the data is in motion. So we are going to see how to encrypt the data in terms of security engineering, how to encrypt the infrastructure we'll see, and apart from that, how to do tokenization. Suppose if you take the financial institutions, right? So if you take financial institutions, I have a credit card number which has some 12 digits, which has 12 digits. So I don't want to expose all these digits. So what I will do, I'll mask the first 8 digits number and I'll do the masking. This is called masking. So we need to mask the data. We need to mask the data. And we have one more option, that is called tokenization. So tokenization is also one of the security, how you can secure your data. So this is my credit card. So what tokenization will do? So tokenization is just nothing but tokenization. If you have the credit card, so they are going to replace the random card numbers, a random number like this for you. It will generate random number. Even someone hacked this data, it's a wrong data because this is the actual data. So we can do the tokenization as well, and then encryption at rest. So the data is always at rest. So whenever the data is encrypted in the cloud storage, the data is always at rest, it is encrypted. And then encryption in transit is also encrypted, that is TLS 1.2. So we are going to see all these things in terms of security. Even I'll tell you what are the tools that we use. So I have the security in cloud, but apart from that, I need to have the extra security. Then you can use Protocurity and Privacera, and then you can use SecurePipe. These are the extra things which will work for masking, tokenization, encryption, and we have IBM Security Guardian. So these are the tools we have which will provide extra layer security in terms of masking, in terms of tokenization, in terms of encryption of your data. So this I'll show you high level things how we can work on security engineering and how to provide the access to the users. So how to restrict the users. So access also I'm going to provide what kind of access the developer should have, how to restrict the access. So we are going to see all these things as part of my training in terms of security. And administrator, so you are going to learn how to onboard the services. So as I said, we are going to do all the ETL operations. So if you want to do ETL operations, I need some resources. So I need some resources, right? So if you go here, so let me go. So this is the reference architecture in terms of data engineering. So we are going to use Azure Data Factory to extract the data. So in real time, we have three kinds of data we receive: structured data, unstructured data, and semi-structured data. So if you see this reference architecture, in the real-time market, we have the data like unstructured, structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data. Structured data is nothing but where you are getting the data from. You are getting the data from relational database systems like Oracle, MySQL, any database. The data is structured in the form of rows and columns in the tabular format. Semi-structured data is nothing but where you get the data from Facebook, LinkedIn, like XML files, JSON files, CSV files, Parquet files, Avro files. So all these kinds of files, we call it as a semi-structured data. And then unstructured data. So if you talk in terms of, one second guys. Okay. So in terms of unstructured data, so if you talk in terms of like YouTube, so audio files, video files, log files, the data is not structured. So we are going to deal all these three different kinds of data in the real time. Structured, semi-structured and unstructured data we are going to deal as part of data scientist, as part of data engineering, as part of data warehousing. We have all these three kinds of data which we are going to learn and grow further. We are going to see all the examples how. So if you see this kind of enterprise struggle with the data, so we have the data like structured, semi-structured. So we have data warehousing, which talks in terms of structured data itself, like Oracle, MySQL database, any database we call it as a data warehouse. And data engineering, you need to do data, you need to extract the data, and you need to transform the data, and you need to load the data, and you need to build the data lake. And if you talk in terms of streaming, where the data will be keep on coming, the data will be keep on coming, where you need to read the data every fraction of seconds. So that is called real-time database, which we need to use streaming. And data science and machine learning, so the data is already available in the data lake. Who is going to build this data lake? Data engineering is the one who is going to build the data lake. And finally, you need to use machine learning tools, and you need to use data scientists to prepare that models. So they have struggled to handle these kinds of data. So if you see, so if you want to do data warehousing, so you need to use all these technologies like Amazon Redshift, Azure Synapses. So we are going to see Azure Synapses as part of our training. We have Snowflake, we have Teradata, Google BigQuery. So in terms of Amazon, this is the Amazon product. In terms of Azure, this is Azure product. In terms of Google, this is the Google BigQuery, which is going to support data warehousing concepts. We are going to learn Azure Synapses as part of data warehousing. And in terms of data engineering, Hadoop is the one which came 5 years back. Now everything is cloud. So Hadoop has been, I can't say Hadoop has been replaced Apache Spark, but it's an advanced version of Hadoop. So Apache Spark, we are going to learn the Spark here in this, and we can use cloud environment, Azure cloud environment to do this work, data engineering work. In terms of streaming, we are going to use Apache Spark, Databricks Spark, and we are going to use Kafka, and we are going to use Spark streaming. We are going to use here Spark structured streaming. We are going to use here. And data scientist. So if you are interested in data science and machine learning, I'm going to provide you the materials. So if you see the overall architecture, so data engineering is the one who is going to build the data lake. So we are going to concentrate mostly on these two parts. One is this data engineering part and streaming, real-time streaming part. So we are going to see how we can solve this problem, how we can solve these problems. So if you see, it's a very complicated. So if you want to get the data, enterprises are struggling to get the data, clean data. So how data engineering is going to solve this problem? So we are going to see that. So as part of data engineering, we are going to use Azure Data Factory for orchestration to extract the data from multiple source systems. And finally, we are going to use the cloud storage here, Azure. We use blob storage, ADLS Gen 1, ADLS Gen 2, and Delta format. 4 kinds of data storages that we are going to learn here till advanced level. And then Databricks is a product-based company. So Databricks is a product-based company. It's not Azure, it's not Google, it is not AWS product. It's purely Databricks is a product-based company. We are using Databricks for transformation, and you can use machine learning. So it has a lot of advantages with the Databricks, which we'll see now. We are using Azure Databricks here. And then finally here, instead of Azure Synapse Data Warehouse, we are using DP203, Azure Synapse Analytics. So this Azure Synapse Analytics we are going to use, which is advanced technologies that we are going to use here. And then I'm going to showcase you how the PowerBI will connect Synapses, how PowerBI will connect to Databricks, storage, data factory, and it will publish the dashboards, how to read the different kinds of files. So I'm going to teach you this full stack data service as part of my training. And the real-time streaming, we are going to use Kafka, and I'm going to use Spark structured streaming to work on real-time streaming data. So if you see, Delta Lake is the advanced topic which we are going to learn for almost 1 week. We are going to see all the real-time use cases in the Delta Lake and how we are going to simplify this architecture. As part of batch ETL, so we are going to use Data Factory, Storage Account, Databricks, Synapse Analytics. As part of streaming, we are going to use Kafka, Spark structured streaming, Data Lake storages, and Databricks we are going to use. Data scientist, so if you know the basics of Spark programming and Python, then you can start working on machine learning on top of that. Now I'm going to teach you SQL analytics. So how you need to do analytics on top of SQL. So in Databricks, we have SQL, Databricks SQL, which we are going to solve all the SQL analytics, business analytics. I'm going to teach you as well. So except this data science and machine learning, I'm going to teach you all these things as part of my training in terms of solutioning, in terms of implementing this in real time, in terms of exploring this product to the PowerBI tools, how they are going to import this one. In terms of materials, so I'm going to share you all these materials for you. So I'm going to teach you all the things from starting how to onboard to the cloud. So in terms of how to create the environments, reference architectures, how you need to onboard if some company is onboarding to the cloud. So what kind of document that you need to refer. So Azure onboarding guide to IT organizations. So any organization, any industry, they want to move to the cloud. So what kind of things that they need to prepare. So I'm going to share you all these documents for you, and I'm going to teach you each and every concept. And then I'll provide you overview of how DevOps engineering will work, how the CI/CD will work, how the GitHub code version tools will work here. So I'm going to teach you high level on DevOps engineering, and I'm going to teach you 30 to 40% of security and 30 to 40% of administrator task. I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to teach you how to solution the in terms of infra. So if you want to solution the infra, so I'll tell you okay. So if you see, this is in terms of infrastructure. So how you need to do the infrastructure solution things when any company is going to cloud. So how you need to architect this, how you need to provide the solutions, how the costing, how the security is going to take place, how the data is sitting here. So you need to learn all these things as part of solutioning, which I'm going to teach you. And second thing is in terms of data engineering. So how you need to solution the architecture. So this is how we are going to solution the architecture. We are going to use Azure Data Factory, Databricks, SQL database, Synapse Analytics, Azure Synapse Analytics, and I'm going to use Power BI, and I'm going to use the storage accounts, how to process batch data, how to process streaming data. So we are going to do all these stuff in the upcoming classes. So this is the materials that I'm going to share you, and I'm going to share you DP203. This is fully a separate course for Azure Synapse Analytics, which I'm going to share you, and we are going to see each and every PPT here. Now, if you see, so we are going to learn as part of data engineering. Apart from data engineering, we are going to learn security in terms of solutioning, in terms of how the cloud will provide the security, and in terms of DevOps engineering, how CI/CD works. I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to onboard all the services like storage, how to onboard storage account. I'm going to showcase you all these things. On top of that, if you want to learn data scientist and machine learning, I'll share you these materials as well. In terms of solutioning, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of data engineering, so I'm going to showcase you how you need to build the solutions. And AI engineering is the advanced thing which you need to learn on top of this. So this is what I'm going to provide as part of my training. Now, you might get one question, sir, you are saying all these things. Where is the materials? In which environment I'm going to execute all this stuff? Where I'm going to onboard this data factory? So where I'm going to onboard this data factory? Where I'm going to onboard this storage account? Where is Databricks, Synapse Analytics? So if you go here, so this is the portal. This is the portal.com. So let me log in. So this is the cloud environment. So I'm going to teach you how you need to onboard this cloud environment. So I'm going to provide the document, how to create the free account in cloud. So I'm going to share you with these steps. Okay. So this is valid for 1 month. This account is valid for 1 year, but you have a credits for 1 month, which they are going to provide you somewhere around 15,000 rupees for you to do all your practices. So I'll show you how to create this account. And here we'll onboard the storage account, we'll onboard data factory, we'll onboard Synapses, Azure Synapse Analytics Workspace, Databricks Workspace, SQL database. So we'll see how to onboard, how the security is going to take place, how to build the ETL pipelines. So we are going to learn each and every part in this. So how to build the ETL pipelines, how to store the data. So we are going to see all these stuffs in the cloud environment. So this is the not free. So this is not for free. So you will get the free account, but you need to have the valid credit card or debit card for this to provide this account. They are not going to deduct any amount. They will just deduct 2 rupees to validate your identity. So only for that they are going to do that. Now the second environment that I'm going to teach you is Databricks. So Databricks is a product-based company. So if you see Databricks alone, so Databricks alone, it's a product-based company. So this Databricks has been started, this company in 2014. Now this is leading the market. Now this Databricks is, without Databricks, I can't say like there is no Azure, there is no AWS, there is no Google. Because this Databricks has been merged with 3 major clouds. So this Databricks has been merged with 3 cloud providers. If you go here, so this Databricks has been merged with 3 cloud like Azure, AWS and Google Cloud. So if you know the Databricks alone, you are capable of working with these 3 major cloud systems. If you know the Databricks, you are capable of working AWS, Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud system. That is the great advantage that Databricks has. So we are going to log into this environment. So this is the Databricks environment. Even if you log in from Azure, even if you log in from AWS, even if you log in this from Google, the workspace is going to remain same. The entire thing is remain same. So this is the Databricks product. This is not Microsoft product. This is not AWS product. This is not Google product. This is purely Databricks company product. Even in US and UK companies, Europe companies, they have Databricks alone. So they don't have any cloud providers. They have Databricks alone, which they are going to implement their products. So even now also in India, almost most of the companies, they use Databricks alone for transformations, for doing machine learning, for doing data science, for doing AI. So they use Databricks for all advanced technologies. As part of data engineering, this Databricks plays a major role. So 90% of the weightage in the real time, which we are going to write the code is in Databricks. So if you see in terms of data science, machine learning, we are going to Databricks. Even if you go in terms of streaming, Databricks we use. And even in terms of batch ETL, we use Databricks. Even in Delta, like Databricks plays a major role. Even if you see overall, Databricks plays a major role. So what is this Databricks? So what is the heart of this Databricks in the sense? Databricks uses a Python, so it will support Spark programming, so Apache Spark. So if you see this architecture, right? So here everywhere they are using Apache Spark, Apache Spark. So Apache Spark is an open source. So on top of that, the guy who is invented the Spark, Apache Spark, he started the company called Databricks, and then in Databricks, we are going to learn about the Spark. So Spark programming. So this Spark programming can be written with 4 programming languages: Python, Scala, R, and SQL. But we are going to learn in terms of Python. So here we are going to learn the full-fledged about what is the Spark programming, what is the Spark, how to read different kinds of files like CSV files, Parquet files, tables, how to read the JSON files. Suppose let me show you one simple file, how to read the file. So I have a JSON file. So this is how the Databricks environment works. So all these materials is clearly documented with the nodes. Okay, so it has all the things ready-made available for you. You are not going to install anything. You are not going to even install single software. You are not going to even upload single file. Everything is already available in cloud, which we are going to use here and we are going to learn. So if you see, this is the classroom setup that we need to run as part of our training. So I'll tell you what is this classroom setup. So if you want to read the JSON file, so we have a links. What is the JSON file? How it looks like? So we have the reference links as well. And this is the place where the file is present. So you have the nodes as well here, and you have the code. If you want to write the code, you can write the code as well. If you want to write the code in new cell, you can write the code. So you can modify the code as well. So this is the file I have. So this is the JSON file I have. So this is the file I have. Path, file name, size of the file, and who has modified. If you want to see the data in the JSON file, this is the command. So I'll tell you how to execute this command. So this is how the JSON file. So if you want to read this file, if you want to do the same thing in C, C++, Java, or Python or Scala, you need to write at least 20 to 50 lines of code to read this data. But here in Spark, by using simple 3 lines of code, I can read this JSON data. This is the Spark programming. So this is the Spark program purely, and I'm using Python syntax to declare variables, all this stuff. So this is how I read the data. So this is the schema. And if you see the data in this data frame, so this is how Spark will read the data. This is how Spark will read the data. So here I have read the data now. So if you want to do some kind of analytics on top of this, if you want to have the bar charts, pie charts, so you can do all the stuff here. You can do all the machine learning stuff here. So like this, you can do all the stuff, whatever the stuff that you want, you can do all the stuff like this. And if you want to plot the options like flags, geocoding, you want to do aggregations, if you want to display some bar charts, if you want to have some kind of coloring, what kind of coloring that you want. So you can do all the stuff here in the Databricks. Now I have this data. If you want to select only 1 or 2 columns, I want 2 columns, then you can directly use data frame.select and you can use that select columns. So from this, I can create the table with 1 line of code. With 1 line of code, I can create the table as well. And I can run the SQL. So if you're good at SQL, I can run the SQL queries as well. So this is the Python notebook. But inside Python notebook, I can run the SQL, I can run R code, I can run Scala code as well. So this is the flexibility that Databricks has. Because of that, it is more popular. So this is how we write the code, and we are going to read all different kinds of files. So this is the Spark ILT instructor lead training. So if you want to get this training from Databricks, you need to pay $2,000 approximately. They will teach you only 2 days. The same material that I'm going to share you. So how to read different kinds of files, how to do transformations. So we have all the transformations which we are going to cover here, and we are going to cover in terms of performance, what kind of performance that you need to have in terms of caching, in terms of cache stop method, partitioning, how to rename some columns, how to add new columns, how to do data analytics here, and joins. We are going to learn about joins, broadcast chains. So all the performance techniques we are going to learn as part of Spark programming. So this is purely Spark programming, and each programming for each notebook, you have the interview questions available here. So if you see the interview questions, review questions, you have review questions for each and every notebook. You have the review questions here, which I am going to share you. Once after completing this notebook, suppose reading the file, so once after this, you can go and see how much I have understood from that notebook. And for each notebook, you have the labs as well. Suppose you have done the data frames. So once you complete part 1, you have a lab for that. So you have a solution for each and every labs. So if I go here, so I have a lab for each and everything. So like this, I have all the materials that is available. So if you want to learn machine learning on top of this, so you can learn machine learning. So this material. So if you want to learn machine learning, Spark is the core. So So we are going to learn PySpark here, Python plus Spark programming, which you need to know the Spark programming to learn even machine learning models as well. This is about the Spark, and you might get one question. Sir, I don't know Python. So I'm going to teach you Python as well, basics of Python. I'm going to teach you how to declare variables, how to declare data types, how to handle conditions and loops, what is the methods, functions, packages, how to handle collections and classes. And we are going to see all these stuffs in the Python, which we are going to learn. So if you go and open these materials, so it is clearly documented and you have clear cut explanation as well. You don't need to prepare any document, any notes. You have recommended resources already available here. So you can run this cell directly here. I'll tell you how to attach the cluster, how to clear results. This is the cloud environment which we are running. So how to do all these things, how to declare the variables. So you have all the stuffs here which we are going to learn, each and everything. This is the Python programming which we are going to learn. And the third thing is delta. So I told you the delta. So this is the delta which we are going to learn. For almost 1 year, last 1 year, almost every customer is moving to the delta lake. So right now for last 4 years, 5 years, we have data lake. Now delta lake is the advanced topic which we need to learn, because in delta lake we have almost all the real-time use cases, how to handle transaction full term, master data, SCD type 2, real-time streaming, how we need to handle the Lambda architecture. So we have all these stuff in the delta lake. So for delta lake, this is the material which we have. So here we are going to learn about all the real-time use cases. All the real-time use cases. You get 95% of interview questions from this delta only. So here we are going to handle how to handle transaction full term, transaction incremental, SCD type 2, how you do Spark structured streaming, what is the optimization techniques that are available in terms of architecture. So if you see how the delta architecture has been simplified. So let me just clear this notebook. So before we learn about delta architecture, we need to see what is our disadvantage in the Lambda architecture, which we are using for last 5 years or 10 years. How delta architecture is going to solve these problems. We are going to execute the program and we are going to see all these stuff further. So this is how the materials has been defined. So we are going to see each and every stuff. We are not writing the code here. We are just configuring the things. Everything is configuration. You should keep in mind, I'll read some file, I'm going to play with that file. I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just going to clean the data. As part of data engineering, your work is to clean the data, because in the real-time world, in the real-time industry, the data is not clean. You have a lot of junk. Someone need to do the cleaning. So that cleaning is done by Databricks. And then this data will be further given by dashboards, data scientists, and they will use to publish these reports in the tools. And for each and every question, you have the review questions for each and every notebook. And once you have completed something, suppose you have done you have completed the topics, 3 or 4 topics here. So you have the exercises as well. So if you go here, so for each and every notebook, once you complete certain topics, so once you complete the certain topics, so at the bottom you have the exercises for you, like exercise 1. So they will give some scenario, they will ask you to write the code here. They will ask you to fill in the code like this. So you have the exercises and you have the solutions for that as well. So if I go to the solutions, for each and every notebook, you have 4 or 5 exercises, which you have the solutions here. So if I go here, let me open this optimized notebook. So if I go bottom, if you go to the bottom of this one, so you have the answers like this. So they will fill the code like this for you. Like this, they will fill the code for you. So vacuum command, all this stuff. So you have the review questions at the bottom. You have some reference architectures as well, additional topics to learn. So all these stuffs you have here. So this is about the delta that I'm going to teach you. And then I'm going to share materials on Spark certification, Azure certification. So if you want to prepare any certifications, you can reach me. I'm going to help you with the materials and I'm guide you how you need to proceed, how to start for certification preparation in terms of Spark, in terms of Microsoft certifications as well. So if you want to do data engineering, DP203, DevOps engineering, AZ104, security engineering, AZ500, data scientist. So you have some other course for this. For administrator, you need to use 304 solution architect. So you have the certificates which I'm going to teach you for all this stuff. So if I click on administrator, so you need to clear the certification, this certification. So if you see, AZ104 is one, AZ120 for SAP workloads. See, messaging administrator 203. So like this, you have a lot of certifications in terms of administrator. But the basic one is AZ104, which you need to cover. If I go for data engineering, so this is, you need to go for DP203 is the one which you need to clear the certification. So now this is about the materials. So apart from that, I'm going to teach you the project, real-time project. So two real-time projects which I'm going to share you with the projects, how you need to do analysis, how you need to build ETL pipelines, how to do unit testing, how to do SAT testing, how to create the design document, how to promote this to production. So I'm going to teach you all these things as part of my training for two real-time projects which I'm going to teach you. So this is what I'm going to deliver as part of my training, and I'll share you how to create the account. So I'll provide you the detailed documentation, how to create the accounts in terms of Azure, in terms of Databricks. So I'm going to share you all these things. I'll provide you interview support as well. Interview support, like if you want to prepare some resumes, what kind of roles and responsibilities that you need to prepare, how you need to apply for this post, where you need to apply. I'm going to teach you all these things for you, and I'm going to teach you on each and every topic, on which topic you need to focus more, on which topics you'll get more interview questions, on which topic the real time will be useful. So I'm going to stress and I'm going to teach you 2 to 3 times of that. So I'm going to share you all these things, extra links. And even if you see the jobs in Databricks alone, so Databricks is very advantage. If you want to learn the Databricks outside, no one is available which has real-time experience. So only the Databricks company has this many number of jobs. Only the Databricks company in Bangalore or other countries, you have this many number of openings. Say 6 hours ago, 1 week ago. So this is all latest one, 4 days ago. 1 week back, they have updated all these stuff. So only in Databricks alone, you have this many number of openings. But if you think about other vendors in the real time without Databricks, you remove Databricks. So almost every company, they're using Databricks here. So who are using the Databricks, they're using the, if you see, so all these companies, they are using Databricks. If you know the Databricks, they will directly recruit you. If you're good at Databricks, even if you don't know Azure, no worries, they will take you, because 80 to 90% of your workloads is running on Databricks in real time. Okay. So any questions from anyone? So I'll stop here for today's. So I'll wait for another 5 more minutes. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Yes, any questions from anyone? You might get one question. Sir, you have explained a lot of things. Is this 2 months, is 45 hours or 50 hours is more than enough to complete? Yes, it is more than enough. Because if I say 1 hour, I'm going to teach you 1 hour. I'm not going to teach like 30 minutes or 40 minutes. And even I'm extend the classes on Saturdays, Sundays sometimes. First 1 or 2 weeks, I'll go a little bit slow until you familiarize with the environment, until you get this concept. Once there, we'll go a little bit speed. But if you're convenient with that speed, otherwise we'll go slow only. Sometimes it will go 2.5 months as well, based on how we proceed further. But as promised, whatever I have shown you here, I'm going to explain you all this stuff for you. You are going to learn, you are going to start the journey for next 2 months with me. Okay. So guys, you should ask the questions. If you ask the questions, you learn more. Start asking questions. Okay.
Hi, sir. Pawan here.
Yes, Pawan.
Do we need any prerequisites for this DP 203? Like, do we need to undergo any AZR DP 900 courses?
No, not required, but you
Okay.
should know the Python, you should know the Spark, you should know
Mhm.
the SQL, you should know Azure Data Factory. So all these things will come in the DP203. It's not
Okay.
prerequisite that you need to learn. I'm going to teach you all this stuff for you.
Yes, sir.
No prerequisite required. I'm going to teach you the SQL. So if you're not aware of SQL, I'll teach you the basic things where you need to learn, how you need to practice. I'm going to teach you Python and Spark programming, and in terms of Azure Data Factory storages. So I'm going to teach you all the stuff which is going to fall under Azure Synapse Analytics.
So actually, I am from SAP background, planning to migrate to this cloud domain. So
Yeah,
I people for
then you
it.
have taken the great step, because this is the where the cloud journey has started for last 2 years. So last 2 years, almost every industry is going to migrate to the cloud.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So any other question from anyone?
Yes, sir. Madhusudan here. Sir, are you going to provide Scala as well?
Scala, see, I don't recommend Scala. So if you want to learn Scala, I'll provide you the Scala materials for you. So I have the Scala
Okay.
materials as well. But in real time, see, if you are using Spark, Spark will support Scala, Python, or SQL and .NET. Okay. So I can write Spark program with any of these programming languages. So you have the documentation on Scala as well. Okay. You have documentation on Python and Scala. But why we are going with Python? Because if you see, we have data scientist, machine
Okay.
learning, AI. So we have all latest technologies. They are using Python. So as part of data engineering, if you use Python and if you use Spark programming, on top of that, it's very easy for you to learn Python and grow in terms of data scientist, in terms of AI. So most of the organizations, they are preferring the Python because it's the free open source and you have rich libraries in terms of data engineering, in terms of Power BI, in terms of uh, machine learning things. So you have a lot of rich libraries available in the Python. But Scala, it's purely type safe language, so it won't support all these features. So you have limited features, but if you want to learn Scala, you have the same materials. Spark is going to the same, only the declaration of syntax, like variable declaration, all this will differ. That's it.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah, you have materials. This is the materials for Scala. For Spark, this is the notebook more than enough. So how to declare variables, how to write simple functions. So all these things we have here.
And sir, apart from this, are we going to provide some optimization techniques for as well?
Yes,
Optim
each and everything in Spark ILT, you are going to learn about caching, partitioning, catalyst optimizer, joins. You are going to learn in terms of Delta Lake. You are going to learn about how to handle small files, how to optimize your code, how to achieve the performance. So you are going to learn all these stuff in my training. How to write the
Oh,
code generic, all these stuff I'm going to teach you.
okay.
And you have
Okay.
the notebooks for
Yes.
tuning as well. So you have the notebook for
Okay.
tuning in terms of memory, in terms of catalyst operator. So you can go through these notebooks and you can learn on top of this.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. You should keep in mind, I'm not the trainer, I'm the real-time guy. Okay, I am deliver the batches only in the morning and evening, and I have the I'll be busy till 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. in the office hours. So I'll do my work, and this is like my just part-time, and I want to train the as many, I want to share my knowledge to the people who want to explore and learn and grow, because in market you don't have this technology who is delivering the real time. I have seen a lot of people, they are getting a lot of money and they are teaching only just not even basics. So a lot of people have reached me in India, sir, can you teach me? So then only I have started teaching in India. Otherwise, for last 2.5 years, I was teaching for UK, US people only, US, UK and Europe markets only. But for last 6 months, I started teaching in India as well. So hope we'll have good journey for another 2 months. So you learn a lot of things from me. If you ask a lot of questions, I'm going to teach you a lot of things. I have huge knowledge. I can't say like I have whatever the experience that I have 2 years of experience in this cloud, in big data and cloud. I'm going to share you all these things in terms of architecting. So if you ask all these things, I'm going to share you, but you need to ask me. Okay. Okay, guys. I think it's already 4 minutes late. We'll catch up once we finalize. So I think Srinivas sir, your consultant, will reach you on further classes. So they'll consolidate all the people and we'll start the classes as soon as possible. Okay.
And sir, this batch is going to start. Means this timing is 8 to as morning 8 only, na?
Yes, morning 7:30 or 8.
Okay, okay,
The same time, morning only.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So if no questions, thanks guys. Thanks everyone.